Hello everybody and welcome back to another Punishing Grey Raven video. Let's get started. So, I've been hard at work grinding away on the new account. I recently just hit level 42 and my highest combat score is just broken over 2k on the battle power, which is pretty good for only a couple days of grinding, especially because I'm not full-time with any of this content. But because I've been grinding really hard, I've burned through a lot of serum at this point. I do have some of the refill packs still available, but I'm going to save those until we get farther into the game where they're more worthwhile to redeem those packs and grind them out on the other resources. It's time for me to finally understand what the heck is going on. For those of you who've watched the other videos, I've been skipping a lot of the story because if it's just in text form without anything else going on, it feels not worthwhile. Thanks to you in the comments, it seems like a lot of people feel the same way. So I found a video that's going to give me a deep dive into some of the content, and I figured I'd give you guys a live reaction, and so we can finally have some context for the rest of the game. I know that some of you have requested that I also react to some of the other special animations for the different chapters as well, and I'm going to react to those too, so make sure to subscribe so you can catch that video when it comes out as well. Alright, let's get watching. So quick thank you to Island XD for putting this video together. He's also the one who did the next video as well about constructs.
What's the meaning of Punishing Grey Raven?
I would like to
With
know.
the release of the global version of the game, I'm sure we are all having a blast diving into the world full of amazing combats and interesting characters.
He's not wrong, combat, unreal.
But what about its story? What role do we play as a player in the game known as the Commandant? And why is the current plot of the game set in a post-apocalyptic world? The name Punishing Grey Raven is a combination of two things.
Good question.
The Punishing, a virus that overtook the Earth, which created the Corrupted, and Grey Raven, signifying an assembly of beings that are trying to retake the Earth from the virus.
See, this is how bad I am for this. The only thing I knew is that this organization was called Grey Raven. I didn't even realize that the punishing was the virus. I had no idea.
Now that's a very simple explanation, but if we start diving into the backstory and try to understand the cause of this apocalyptic world, things get very intriguing. The Punishing, a virus that overtook the Earth. What is it really and where did it come from?
I want you to tell me that. Thank you very much.
During the Earth's golden age in the year 2130, the world's government became unified under the lead of Dominic. Dominic and the Science Council of the World creates an AI called the Gestalt.
See, that's why one centralized government, one world order, not a good idea. Ends up in the punishing.
Gestalt, or simply a machine god, helps usher in a new era of technological advancements. With the help of this godlike AI, humans create Babylonia, a warp-speed interstellar spacecraft for space colonization. But during the advancement of the technological developments, technicians tries to harness a specific form of energy called the zero-point energy, an energy within the concept of quantum physics. Long story short, the zero-point energy essentially is a type of energy that is so strong it could end up replacing all forms of energy source for humans on Earth. And
I love a good MacGuffin.
energy so massive it would easily accomplish interstellar travel across galaxies within hours. But during the process of this research, the energy leaks and causes an explosion, which ends up creating the viral virus.
I just realized actually it wouldn't be a MacGuffin. It's the wrong term. Whatever, I can't remember.
Maybe as if to signify that humans are unworthy of such godly advancements, the virus essentially becomes known as the Punishing virus. This virus attacks living cells and corrupts the logic of mechanoids, hijacking one's self-consciousness and awareness.
Hey, I fought that.
This Punishing virus had a simple goal: to attack and get rid of everything in the world that shows human-like consciousness and behavior. In the process, the humans end up losing their home planet to the Corrupted. Now, to help reduce the effects of the virus, humans create a gigantic, tower-sized ventilation device in cities to help purify the atmosphere. However, this obviously limiting humanity's life of normacy. Some humans even escaped to Babylonia, which is now being situated in space, orbiting around the Earth. Now, the biggest issue with the Punishing virus is that whether you are a living being or a mechanoid like drones or robots, it corrupts and hijacks one's control over their mind. The Corrupted begins to expand its reach throughout the world to further spread the virus, all in an attempt to completely cleanse the world from self-awareness.
Okay.
To combat the corrupted and to take back their home world, humans begin to develop beings known as the constructs. But because the punishing virus affects the mind on a conscious level, the constructs were unaltered from their original human thoughts. This being supported by what's known as the ego-ocean system, all in the attempts to stay self-aware so that they can fight and reduce the effects of the virus and to battle the corrupted.
I still feel like it still feels weird to me that like this virus can like corrupt both technological and biological minds. Like that just feels like, I don't know. It feels a little like a little bit of like a stretch too far. I mean, like it's a fantasy game, mobile game. It's fine, but I don't know. It feels a little weird, but all right. Let's roll with it.
Basically, the beings known as constructs in the game are bionically reproduced humans that can stay sane against the corruption of the punishing virus. The Grey Raven team is the entity formed by the inclusions of these constructs, led by Lucia, along with other constructs like Lee and Liv inside the game. Now, aside from this development, how do we, known as the Commandant, fit into the story of the game? There was a
I've also been reading the Commandant as like the Commandant or whatever, like I think it's like a naval term. I've been reading it like that the entire time, not the Commandant. So I should probably fix that.
Problem during the development of the constructs. Even after the efforts of seemingly suspicious and dark human alterations, it turns out that the punishing virus's potency on these bionic humans were only reduced and not completely removed. In the attempts to develop a more resilient version of the system, a system called the Invert Device System was created. The basic idea of the Invert Device System is to connect the construct's mind to a central beacon, connecting the constructs to the Commandant as a countermeasure to obtain resistance against the punishing virus. This basically explains why we are able to control these characters in the game in the perspective of the story. Now, aside from the zombie-looking monsters called the Corrupted, the constructs of the Grey Raven team, and us, the Commandant, there's another type of entity that plays a part in the story.
Ascendants.
Unlike the constructs who wants to reclaim Earth from the corrupted for humanity, Ascendants are utilizing the punishing virus and the corrupted to cause havoc and paranoia on Earth. But how are they not affected by the punishing virus? To stay self-aware, Ascendants have a system called the Ascension Network. Like the Invert Device System between constructs and Commandants, the Ascension Network allows the Ascendants to stay self-aware despite heavy exposure to the virus, also giving them special abilities in the process.
Yeah, I've done a couple of the missions where you get to play some of them. Like I just recently played as this character. It would have been on the new account. You get to do some levels as him, like use some of his abilities, and like they're pretty sick. The animations and stuff look amazing, and they do a really good job of making you feel powerful when you get to play as him in that little sub quest.
But the reason behind their actions are unknown. Perhaps there are some hidden connections within the story behind Ascendants and constructs because of their similarities in their resistance systems. And that is the basic story of Punishing Grey Raven in a nutshell. Interesting backstory that will hopefully come to light as we progress through the story.
All right. Well, that's a great video. Great start. Again, if you see this video, make sure to go drop a like on that video. It's the story of Punishing Grey Raven in a nutshell by Island XD. We're going to switch to his other one now. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into what actually constructs themselves are. They briefly touched on it in that last video, but let's see if we can get a little bit deeper on the constructs themselves.
Androids are defined as robots with artificial intelligence. On the other hand, mechanoids are robots that simply resemble human-like figure. So what's so different about constructs, and what is their importance to the story of Punishing Grey Raven? To begin, let's talk about how the punishing virus affects the humans, robots, and constructs. The punishing virus has no effect on human thoughts. However, it directly affects the cells of human body. This is obvious since the
so is any like human who gets corrupted, like their consciousness is fine, the brain's fine, but then they get like puppeted around? So like could one of those like corrupted beings that are walking around, like they're fully conscious and aware? Is that like something that comes up in the story? Oh, that'd be Oh, that would suck. That's such a nightmarish thing.
Commandants use serum to defend against the virus, and well, essentially you need serum to do anything inside the game. As for robots, the punishing virus directly affects their thoughts by infecting their logic circuits. But unlike humans, the virus has no effect on their body. Now, on a very surface level, constructs have the best of both worlds. A reproduced human-like consciousness, which the
that makes
virus
sense.
cannot corrupt, with reconstructed bodies to resist the virus. This
See, I was so confused with how it was being explained in the previous video that I'm happy I opened this one up because that already kind of clarifies everything a little bit more for me there. I mean, still the jump from like the technology to biology is like, but shaky, but I'm okay with it.
is indeed very optimal for fighting against the punishing virus. But there's a problem. Constructs are affected by an issue called the mind system deviation. So what is the mind system deviation? To explain, let's discuss what the mind system even is. Memory inductive neural depository system, or simply the mind system.
Okay.
A complete simulation of human consciousness for constructs. Think of the construct's mind system as the brain of humans. Now, this mind system is created to work together with the construct's strengthened bodies. But because of the synchronization between the mind system and their bodies, the problem of deviation occurs. What do I mean exactly? The mind system is a simulation of human brain, and it expects human-like response from the body. For this reason, constructs' bodies are built with human-like functions, such as the capability of harnessing 5 different senses, the ability to mimic the act of breathing and feeling pain, even having synthetic skin and vital fluids to imitate human blood. Now, what happens if the mind system receives non-human-like reactions from the body? Their deviation value begins to increase. If this deviation passes above a certain threshold, it causes the construct to lose their sense of consciousness, becoming more susceptible to the punishing virus. If you recall, in the very beginning of the game, Lucia requests her pain receptors to be disabled. Due to the missing response of pain,
remember that? It's like the opening thing you see is her just like absolutely destroyed.
Her mind system begins to deviate, causing her to exhibit unnatural behaviors. Now, if you really think about it, the existence of construct is very ironic. Constructs are essentially powerful entities with human-like consciousness to withstand the effects of the punishing virus. But due to the byproduct of deviation, they are exposed to potential corruption. Unlike humans who simply succumb to the virus and pass on, an infected construct can become superhuman corrupted that fight against humanity. This basically explains why the Purifying Force even exists, a unit that specializes in stopping the corrupted constructs. Whatever the case may be, we can learn that constructs' consciousness are not completely resistant to the punishing virus. To help remedy this inherent issue of constructs, we are introduced to the Mind Beacon and the Invert device.
So is that like what's happening with these? Is that what they're called? Like Ascension or something? The antagonists, by the sound of it, like, are they actually just straight up corrupted, or like it's still like something a little bit different?
In the game of Punishing Gray Raven, Commandants possesses a mind beacon, a consciousness hub that the constructs can connect to stabilize their deviations and the level of corruption, essentially helping them stay human. However, the mind beacon does have some limitations. Connecting to more than 3 constructs at one time causes heavy burden on Commandant's consciousness.
That's why you can only have 3 characters for every mission. What a convenient plot device to talk about the gameplay mechanics.
This practically explains why, as players, we can only control 3 constructs at a time throughout our gameplay.
See, that's what I just said.
To connect to this mind beacon of the Commandant, each constructs are required to use an instrument known as the Invert device. The Invert device serves several purposes. First, as I already mentioned, it is used to connect the consciousness of constructs to the Commandant for stability. Second, it helps measure and resist the corruption of the virus to a certain degree. Third, it is used as a communication device. And lastly, gives the constructs the ability to recall. Recalling is probably one of the most crucial functions that constructs possess. In an event of imminent destruction, constructs can relocate their sense of self to a safe location. It's essentially an ejectocito for their consciousness. Even though the act of recalling causes minor deviation in their mind system, this is by far the biggest benefit of the construct's existence.
So if their body gets destroyed, their consciousness overall gets like saved, which I'm assuming that's going to be like that's an element of some of those like ascended characters. Like I think there was some stuff about actually Crimson Abyss right there that like, you know, she's been betrayed a bunch of stuff is what's like hinted at. So like my guess is like she's been like, you know, ejected and recycled like multiple times, and she keeps being betrayed by humans and is all bitter about everything now. But I'm interested to see that expand more. Also, with all the clips he's throwing in here of all these animations, it's getting me really excited to watch all the PVs. So I'm excited to get to those as well.
Recalling, the constructs can retreat to fight another day. This can explain why our constructs are still playable even after falling in battle throughout the game. Now, with all that said, the importance of the invert device is very crucial. If the invert device is broken, discarded, or removed, the constructs have no way to communicate with others or link with the mind beacon of the commandant. This makes them extremely vulnerable in the battlefield and to the punishing virus. With no way to recall their consciousness when faced with death, they will either fade away from existence or worse, become one of the corrupted that will attempt to destroy humanity. Now, regardless of Construct's many shortcomings, they are still an integral part of humanity's battle against the punishing virus. With the addition of the Commandant, Mind Beacon, and the Invert device, the Constructs are the biggest and the most important puzzle piece within the story of Punishing Gray Raven.
That's great. I actually feel like I understand what's going on now, and it's giving me like a few ideas into what's actually going on with like those antagonist characters too, and it's did what I hoped that it would do. I think I'm actually interested in the story now and to see how things are going to develop a little bit more, which is what I wanted. So again, make sure to go check out Island XD. Drop a like on the videos that we just watched today. You know, always want to throw the support around, especially when you're reacting to other people's content that they've put a lot of work into. If you've made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you again soon.